ES Audio.
From the Evening Standard in London, I'm John Weeks, and this is The Leader. 3 months after environmental campaign group Insulate Britain stopped their protest action in the UK, they've now teamed up with another group and are promising to deliver an even more ambitious campaign. Last year, they blocked roads across the country, including parts of the M25, causing misery for commuters.
Just be careful, because some members of the public obviously will get quite aggressive with you.
Now they've joined with Just Stop Oil, who are calling for the government to stop all licences for fossil fuel production. The group has threatened to intervene if the government doesn't do so by the 14th of March. It follows the government's approval of a new oil and gas field in the North Sea last month. So, what does this new collaboration mean for Insulate Britain, and what are their plans for this year? Craig Scudder is an eco-home builder and a spokesperson for Insulate Britain. So Craig, first of all, why have you decided to collaborate with Just Stop Oil?
When we came off the streets in November time, we had to have a bit of a warts and all look at what we managed to accomplish. And, you know, although still today there are pretty much daily columns in the national press about how we need to start insulating our housing stock. And all the talking points that we put out there are being parroted in pretty much every publication. Obviously, everybody hated us. Nobody wants to get behind people that block roads, etc. But they saw the sense in what we were saying. So I guess that's a win, right? But in terms of getting the government to do anything, we had to put our hands up and say we failed. And could we, this 100 and something people, commit to doing this again when the weather breaks in the spring and putting our lives on hold again? You know, it's a massive ask, right? Because, as I've already said, people didn't sign up for that. And so, you know, as we were taking a warts and all look at what we'd managed to accomplish or not, some other people were saying, you know, we need a campaign next year about why the government are still giving out licences to drill in the North Sea, looking at opening up coal mines in Wales and Cumbria, and also having another look at fracking.
Now, earlier this month, Insulate Britain sent out a release saying you'll be even more ambitious with your campaign this year. Are there plans to do extreme protests again, or are you changing tack and going down a different route?
There are plans to do extreme protests, yep. I mean, I would say if you want to have a look at what's coming down the road, have a Google up at the 2000 fuel protests. Right? That was when it was mainly actually the haulage industry just said enough's enough. Petrol and diesel prices were spiralling, and it was because of government policy and new taxes they were putting on. And the haulage, the small hauliers really just said, listen, we won't be able to function here, right? This is going to wipe us out. And they brought the country to a standstill. And that is what we're looking to do.
You can listen to this interview in full by clicking the link below.
Somebody needs to win against this government.
And people listening to this probably won't be happy about that. Is there a worry this kind of action will damage the reputation of Insulate Britain even more?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, I love a sporting analogy, and we are maybe the Millwall of environmental groups. You know, no one likes us, we don't care. You know, this is all about getting the win. Nobody said it was going to be popular in 2000 when lorry drivers blocked oil refineries, right? But the government did bend, and we're going to force them to bend this time. As I say, there were 100 and something people at the beginning of our Insulate Britain process. Just Stop Oil, I'm led to believe, have a lot more people than that ready to take action. So I don't think it's going to be akin to last year and blocking the M25. So I would think that normal people will be disrupted a lot less. But you know, that if you listen to this podcast, right, and you don't believe the science behind climate change and what Sir David King and David Attenborough and the United Nations and Chatham House, what all the experts are telling us, right, if you don't believe that, then you're probably not going to support us.
Now, when it comes to the action you're proposing, people will argue that it would be better not to go to those extremes and perhaps speak with MPs or ministers instead. Have you or are you planning to do that?
Yeah, well, we did this last time as well, but we've delivered a letter to Downing Street. We did that on Friday, highlighting the issues and giving the government a chance to respond and change their policy, have us in for talks, whatever, right? And let's see, they won't, they'll ignore us because, they like their donations or whatever it is that they like it too much to worry about your electricity bill. I'd love them to come back in the next few weeks, but I'm not holding my breath.
And I mean, what would it take for Insulate Britain to scale back the operation to cause disruption going forward?
Yeah, the government to start talking to us, and bring in experts from the environmental movements. If you don't want to talk to us because we're disruptors, that's fine. Say, okay, we don't even want one of you guys in the room, but we'll sit down with X, Y and Z, right? We'll sit down with representatives from Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, whatever, I don't care, right? This is about getting the goal. We don't have to be in the room. What we're doing is highlighting the injustice in giving money to fossil fuel companies, allowing them to drill in UK waters in the North Sea, allowing them maybe to go fracking again, and that dooming generations, future generations in the UK. Why would we scale back our plans? Well, we would love to scale them back if the government sit down with us. They have time. Right, the government have got a month to sit down with us and look at this.
There's more news and analysis in the Evening Standard newspaper and at standard.co.uk. That's The Leader. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m.